ever, as we transition with time, social media, current events, we've got to have that person in the school. The unfortunate news for us is that we're not going to have that person this year. The Danville Police Department is incredibly short-staffed. This may be the lowest that I've ever seen our staffing. We're a very young agency, so it's hard to find people who want to be in the school. You know, it's its own challenge to find somebody with a personality that wants to be in the school, deal with, you know, juvenile crime, and the ever-evolving workings of dealing with children. It was a little tougher than I thought. Like when Chief said, I met with the school, this is, you know, it's not a school decision, and it's really not a decision by the police department. It's a decision out of necessity. We've just got no one left. There's no hats left to pull from. When I came to the police department in 2006, we had 2 canines, we had 4 to 5 detectives, and we were 32 strong, I think, total, from top to bottom. We're down a detective. We currently have no canines. Our assistant chief is resigning next month. He calls it a retirement, but it's more, I think, frustration. It's very odd to see someone be an assistant chief and not stick around long enough to be chief. So we've just got a lot of struggles. They continue. We just had a guy resign an hour and a half ago. So I put some notes to try to give an idea. It looks good on paper. The police department has 35 out of 35 positions filled up until an hour and a half ago. But out of those, we have 1 in training, we have 4 that are in the academy, and 2 step foot in the police department today for the first time. This was day 1. We've taken them to go get uniforms, get outfitted for the equipment. So what that means for us is that we've got 22 available. Sorry, 28. So out of our 28 that we're down to has now turned into 27 with the resignation. And then you add in our 3 detectives and 3 administrators. Now we've got 21 people left to cover 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. I don't think we're done yet. We've got 2 more retiring in December, and that's going to be followed by 2 more in July of 19. So because of the staffing issues at the police department, we just can't keep anyone in the schools. We have no one to do any extra. We don't have anybody on bikes. We don't have anybody with dogs. We don't have anybody dedicated to doing drug work. All the problems that are facing our community, and it's all we can do just to simply respond to calls. So I just wanted to kind of make it public, let it be known that this wasn't a school decision, this wasn't a police department decision, this is just a decision out of necessity for the city. And until we can get some people to stick around, it's just not going to help. Our odds of getting somebody in the school this year, full-time, dedicated, are very slim.
Well, Chase, I'm going to be the first one to admit to you, back about 2006, we started talking about SROs, and I was totally against it. And it wasn't because of you, it just was the idea of that time, having a police officer run around school with a gun.
It's a perception.
It was a perception.
The perception initially is
and then
not good.
Further boards decided it was a good thing to do, and I'm totally convinced it was the right thing to do, so this old dog's mind could be changed. But what I'm more concerned about, this isn't a Danville school issue, this is a Danville issue. Because that tells me we barely have enough coverage to take care of the citizens. You know, and all that I hear, we don't have the money. They got to come up with the money. Because it's now imperative that we have more coverage than we do. And it isn't just because of the schools.
Yeah, and one of the issues is in recruiting people, we don't have a structured pay scale at the police department.
Right.
So when you work somewhere else in law enforcement, number one, you're certified. So that saves us money on the front end because we don't have to pay us into the academy. Also, at this rate of attrition, this rate of retirement, if you can come to us certified, we can teach you the streets. We can get you in one of our empty cars, and you can start taking calls and taking some of this pressure off of our people who are working 3, 4, 5, as many as 800 to 900 hours of overtime a year. I know we have a supervisor in today. Last year he worked almost 900 hours. We're just barely halfway through the year, I guess, and I'm at 335 hours of overtime worked. We're tired. There's no other way to describe it, and it's tough. And if we, this person that works in Stanford or Junction, wherever it may be, for 4 or 5 years, calls us up and says, "Hey, it's kind of stagnant. I'm not getting any career advancement. I'd like to come to Danville and do more. What can you start me at?" We can give you our starting pay. But I've worked somewhere for 5 years. Sorry. Starting pay is the best we can do for you because we don't have a structured pay scale. There's no guarantee. We can't tell you if you're hired today what you're going to make 3 years from now, 5 years from now. And these are all things that make people hesitant to leave their job when they know there's a structure, there's a scale.
Well, we've talked and I think for me, publicly, I hope this is something the community gets behind because I'm sad for our students, first and foremost, because I know the relationship you have with our students. I know how much they look up to you and the respect they have for you. And when I was reading through this, just my 2 daughters alone said, "Oh no, this is not going to be good. Officer Roach is not around." So I do think this is something that is a bigger issue than any of us right now can solve.
Right.
And I just hope it's very short term because
I hope so. The concern is the outlook is grim. I mean, it's just.
Yeah. And again, like I said, I hate this for our students, but we will do as a district whatever we have to do to make something work so that our students know they're safe. And I know Dr. Shelton has looked at some other options, and if we have to, in the meantime, just for hopefully whether it's a year, hopefully not any longer, we can find something to do.
That's the goal, is that within a year we can get back to an SRO and kind of pick up where we left off. I hate the absence for a year because that's a year of growth that I miss with the kids. And, that's one of the best parts of this, most rewarding, is seeing the kids grow and become better, better people.
Well, because we know you're not there just during the day.
Right.
You're there for a lot of after-hours things for these students, and that's what they see, and that's how they build the relationship and feel comfortable, having you around. So.
I think the question moving forward for, I say us, because as alum and being a part of this for so long, I still feel like it's us.
Sure.
Is, what is our solution at the school level?
Right.
One of the ideas that I threw out is basically a running tab. We post something at the police department, days and times, and maybe it's your day off and you want to be in the school for the day, you come for the day. Maybe you come in early for your shift, you work half of it, maybe you stay up, so that gives the school some coverage, but then there's going to be days where there's not going to be anybody. That's the downside, is there's not a guarantee, and it may be depending on people's vacation, injuries, court days. They may not have the ability to come and help out. And I think the whole goal of this is you miss some of the deeply rooted, relationships.
Right. We appreciate you coming and putting this on the record, and more than anything, helping our community understand how this has happened.
Yeah,
that it's not something the school's decided, it's not something that Chief Gray, it's not something you all want to.
It's just being done out of necessity.
Well, what was interesting, Chase, I talked to 2 commissioners, and they had no clue that this was going to be a ramification of their decisions not to fund either a more equitable pay scale and whatever. And I said, we're down, we don't have an officer either now.
Right.
You're down 4, we're down 1. And there's not a simple solution. You know, you talk about maybe hiring a retired state trooper or a police officer or sheriff. Well, there's no arrest powers. And it's not the same as being really part of the program.
Right.
So, because the SROs, as you know, is a whole different animal. It's just not regular police work. There are retired folks around that may be willing to do it, but that worries me probably even more, having somebody who really doesn't know the ropes as far as being an SRO.
Yeah, and it can be a test of personality at times too. I mean, the kids have taught me probably as much as I've taught them. You know, not having any kids of my own, you know, I kind of see them as little brothers and little sisters. That's just how I try to take care of them. But it's a tough role to be in.
Well, also going to the state wrestling tournament, and this guy's there. I mean, it really makes a big difference with the kids. Not only were you part of that program, but it's the fact you're part of the fabric of the Danville schools. I mean, you grew up in the district, and you know you've gone on to become successful and all those good things, and so that part of it's gone. We say a year, but if you get used to not doing something, you may not ever do it again.
You know, when you look and you talk about the education and the programming, you know, intercession, even just getting a chance to be a part of intercession for a week, you know, I ran 2 classes, and it was just such good exposure in truthful knowledge. It was not what's presented through social media or someone's personal Twitter account. It is actually the law. It is teaching students what their rights really are, not assumed through someone's video. You know, there's a lot of misinformation out there. It's important now that we get the correct information out there. And we got to recruit. And there's no better place to recruit than, you know, from our own city.
Great.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done. And I know, like Paige said, that you have a lot of respect from parents, administrators, as well as all students. So.
Thank you. It's tough. It's, you know, I kind of thought I'd come here today, go through the motions and say, well, here's what we're going to do. But it's not that easy. Between the passion for trying to get the police department fixed, you know, my father was a police officer. I've grown up in the police department. It means a lot to me. We're struggling. And now, you know, the schools are going through a lot of transitioning. Things that I was looking forward to, the students are looking forward to, and you're going to kind of miss out on that. The good news is for our administrators, I'm going to be on day shift. So I'll still be around. You know, you can call if you need some help with something. If I'm available, I'll do the best I can to get there to help, or send whatever officer is available. You know, we haven't cut ties as a police department. It's not, hey, we don't have anybody, best of luck to you all. You know, it's not that at all. So we're still going to do what we can to help. And I've talked to Lisa a little bit and said, still send me games that'll need to be covered, sporting events, and we get all the extracurriculars covered as always.
All right, man.
Thank you. We'll hope this is just going to be a continuation of a discussion.
Yes. And I said, you know, it's anything else I can do outside to try to find a solution. You know, whether it's private security, there's, you know, maybe we find a couple of retired people that either want to come into the schools, or maybe they'll see this as their chance just to get back into law enforcement.
Right. What kind of training is involved if there was somebody, you know, that was retired that wanted to do this? As far as, is that something who can do the training for an SRO?
If they're already a certified law enforcement officer, they can attend a couple of just in-service classes. They're about 40 hours a week, and you know, we can get them into that type of class. But I don't know. I just hope they're out there.
Yeah, we do too. We do too.
he might have. And,
Is there any other
Thank
questions
you.
or anything?
Thank you for your service,
Yes.
ma'am.
I
Thank you,
know.
man. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
all right,
Really
thank you.
appreciate it,
Already
Chase.
missed.
Thank you. Anything you want to add?
Well, just definitely echo everybody's thoughts, and it is a disappointment for the school system, but I know it is a much larger issue that the whole community, needs to look at. But as was mentioned, we are looking at maybe an alternate schedule. But realistically, you heard that all of the offers, they're already spending a lot of time with overtime. So actually asking them to fill the slots with more overtime to cover the high school may be a challenge. We're looking for retired officers, but we've not been able to find one. So anybody in the community that knows a retired officer, they could reach out to and have them contact the school system. That would be great.
All right. Thank you again, Chase, for being here. We really appreciate you. Next item on the agenda is the Tolliver Green opening discussion.
So we have Robin Kelly, I believe Robin's here, and I asked her, I believe that staff has already been discussing different things and different thoughts and ideas, so we'd love for you to present to the board your thoughts, and then we can have a discussion.
Well, unlike the city of Danville, the police department, Tolliver is not having any negative progress. We are moving forward, and furniture is being delivered. Keys got passed out to teachers today. Playground's being graded. Floors are waxed. It's all forward progress, so lots of good news to report. With that, we, a small group of people from Tolliver, and Jenny represented, talked about what we could do to kick this off. And we see this more as a community event, not just our Tolliver folks or even our Danville school family. We would like to invite some dignitaries from the community. If the police chief could spare a few moments to come and celebrate with us, we'd love to have them. The fire chief, perhaps, the mayor. Obviously, we'd like our superintendent to say a few words and address the crowd there. We would like to do this event on August 10th. That is, we already had an open house planned for that evening, so the building will be in tip-top shape, the teachers will all be there, and we would just like to tack it on to the very beginning of that to really kick that off and open it up to the community. We would maybe have a couple of other speakers from Tolliver or Danville schools. Well, we can decide on that. We can get some input if you'd like. And then we want a big ribbon out front across those brand new shiny white columns. And instead of having a traditional ribbon cutting, we thought that maybe it would be good just to have kids like break through the ribbon and run into the schools and kick it off and start that. So we think so. Nothing too complicated, but any ideas or thoughts that you'd like to see or want to happen?
That sounds great.
Okay.
I think simple as possible so that we're concentrating on the beautiful school and keep all the speeches down to 20 minutes each.
Okay, Mark Steve off the list.
Darn, I won't be able to do that. But no, I think it's a great opportunity. So what time are you suggesting?
About 3 o'clock in the afternoon. That way it's part of the work day. The teachers will all be there. And then the kids who run through the ribbon will also be available as ambassadors to lead people on the tours through the building. Yeah.
Okay.
Exciting.
Okay. Let me know if you need anything else.
All right.
It's more rain.
I know. I said there's something else. I feel like y'all are sitting in the dark. If anybody wants to turn the lights on back there, feel free. Okay, our next item on the agenda is the personnel notifications. Let's see. So those are just attached for our information. If y'all have any questions, please let Dr. Shelton know. All right, and then moving on to the minutes of the previous meeting.
Make a motion for the approval of the June 4th, 6th, 8th, 11th, 21st, 2018 meeting minutes as submitted.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes. All right, Mr. Dean, moving on to finance, or finance report.
should have a copy of the finance report and the treasurer's report, one we usually do at the working session, the treasurer's part of it. So we'll start with that, briefly go through it. Page 1, for the month of June, you'll see the beginning part is the beginning balance of $7,976,000. Total receipts for the month of June, $1,662,000. Total disbursements, $3,692,000, leaving a balance at the end of June, at the end of the fiscal year, of $5,946,070.72. Obviously, June is our biggest month for payroll as we're closing out the year and making all the certified people get their final checks in that month. And so that's why that's as large, and we'll go through that here in just a minute. But in the middle section, you'll see a breakdown of the cash by the various funds that are maintained by the board. General fund, $4,619,000, and you'll see how those are distributed down. One thing I would like to point out to you is you will see a new fund added. At the bottom, there's a Fund 52, which is called the Daycare Fund or Admiral Academy. And the reason for that is our auditors decided we had the Admiral Academy as part of our district activity funds, but they wanted that broken out separately as a daycare fund. So that's what's been done here. And I just removed all of the transactions from the district activity funds, moved them to Fund 52, and that's the balance in that account. It just moved from one fund to the other. So district activity funds went down a little bit, but we also added the daycare fund. So you can see how that reconciles with the above. And then at the bottom, the balance of the bank along with the outstanding checks and outstanding deposits for the month agree with that total. Now, if you'll turn to the second page, is a description of all of the receipts that we had during the month of June from our gross utilities tax, our SEEK money, our FSPK nickel match, our recallable nickel match. All the way down through there you can see the various items that we collected during the month, totaling from the front page $1,662,089.43. If you got any questions on any of those, feel free to ask. And then the third page is a breakdown of the claims and the payroll for the month of June. Obviously, June, like I said, is our biggest month, and we're trying to get all of our bills paid up so that we don't have anything carrying over into the new fiscal year, and also paying out the payroll. So you can see the total June claims were $813,543.37. Total payroll, $2,878,834.73. And then at the bottom of the page, you can see how the various claims that we paid were paid by fund, and then also by payroll by fund. So moving on to the treasurer's report, which is, or excuse me, the finance report. That's a separate document that you should have on there. First page on there is basically a reconciliation, just like we went through, so I won't go through all that again, but you can see at the bottom of the page how the various funds are there. You'll see we still have $200,000 set aside for sick leave escrow. The assigned maintenance is $399,000, which has been like that for a couple of months now. That's the money that we've set aside for maintenance for the stadium that you're looking at. If we do the softball field, will be added to that. So you can kind of see a comparison of last year's, where we were last year to this year. General fund cash is down $76,000. The assigned funds, we started with $747, added some to that, and then spent what we for the Tolliver project and the other items that we had on our assigned funds list. The daycare fund do have a balance in the capital outlay in our building fund. Construction fund, obviously, with the paying of the Tolliver bills, it's down some. One good thing there is you'll look at the food service. It's up almost $88,000 over last year. So real positive there with our food service. One thing that I'm sure you're wanting to know is what our carry forward is going to be after getting everything, all the bills paid and everything. Now, these numbers that I've given you are a snapshot at June 30th. Our annual financial report has to be filed with the Department of Education by the 25th of this month, so I've still got some adjustments to make as far as accounts payable, accounts receivable, which will affect some of these numbers a little bit, not huge. But as of right now, we finished the year, we've got about just a little over a $3.9 million carry forward.
What was our carry forward last year?
A little bit more than that, it's just a little over 4. And then we turned around and took about $400,000 of that carry forward and moved it into a sign where we bumped that up to $1 million. Second page is our breakdown of the certificate of deposit for the Tolliver project. We just, for the month of July, made our last draw of $484,859.70, which will zero that out and move it into the construction fund, so everything's winding down on that now, so we can finish paying the bills for it. Total interest earned to date on that certificate is $113,749.26. Of course, then the next 2 pages are our summary for the general fund of receipts, showing what was taken in for the month or year to date, how those compare to the budget, and then we also have a comparison of last year to see how money taken in this year compares to last year, and then the same thing for our expenses by function, all the way from instruction down to fund transfers. You can see how those compare from our budget and from last year as well. Any questions on any of that information?
Questions?
I make a motion for the approval of the financial report is submitted.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay. All right, we can move on to the finance report, payment of invoices.
You should have a list of the claims that were paid for the month of June. I'm trying to hit some of the highlights for you. Obviously, as we said from page 1, the total amount paid out is $813,543.37. Of that total construction fund expenses, we had $95,762 for the Tolliver construction and renovation project, small amount for May, and then we ramped it up a little bit more to finish it up in June. HVAC test for Tolliver of $2,500. Purchased furniture for Tolliver of $76,000. Then moving to the Hogsett project, we're incurring some fees for topographic survey of $1,891, and then an architect fee of $41,567. And then also architect fee for the Dayton Middle School project of $47,393. So moving those items for the construction fund out, that leaves us with $548,382 of monthly expenditures for routine things, for special revenue, our district activity funds, our food service for supplies, repairs and maintenance, utilities, those type of things. And then just to let you know some of the notable expenditures that occurred during the month. Decent list of things that we paid out in June there. Of that $548,000, $130,397 was for a Thomas 84 passenger bus number 118 that will get on the road. We also incurred preschool services for the spring of 2018 paid to the Child Development Center, $30,327.50. High school AP exams, $13,135. We had to pay in advance our district license for our one-to-one initiative at the high school. That was $8,011. High school alternative campus learning software of $4,700. Infinite campus renewal of $10,425. Math curriculum for elementaries, $15,406. We had an installment for the Education Foundation Executive Director of $10,000. Purchased a storage container for $3,200. DHS LED lighting, we continue to move on that project a little at a time. That was $11,872. purchased microphones for Gravely Hall, $3,800. And then finally, we had some boiler inspections and repairs at the high school in G. Rogers, totaling $13,830. So you can see that's a pretty significant amount of that 548 that we had left over after the construction expenses. So that kind of gives you a highlight of what we paid out during the month to try to close out all of the invoices. Any questions on any of that?
Make a motion for the approval of the payment of invoices totaling $813,543.37 as presented.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? Motion passes. Okay, and then next item is the fidelity bond.
This is an annual requirement of the Department of Education that the board approve a fidelity bond for the superintendent and the finance director. KDE issues the required bond amount for the Danville Independent District. It varies by district, but for Danville, the requirement is $300,000. So we're bonded through Ohio Casualty, our local insurer, Johnson & Coleman. And so what I'm asking is approval of the fidelity bond of treasurer form that we have on there for $300,000 for both the superintendent and myself. And that's in case something happens, the board's covered.
I make a motion for the approval of the fidelity bond for the superintendent and finance director as submitted.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. Are you sticking around for
I guess so.
facilities? Okay. All right, so the next item on the agenda is under facilities, the Danville High School roof project.
What we need to do there is to approve a BG2 and a BG3 for the roofing project. These have been sent, and I've attached those. These are from the architect on the project. And what the BG2 just outlines specifications of energy design criteria. That's the title of that particular document. And then the BG3 is a statement of probable cost, which kind of reinforces the costs that were approved on the BG1. So we need to approve those and then submit those to KDE for their approval.
I recommend the approval of the BG2 and the BG3 for the Danville High School roofing project as submitted. Second.
All right, any final questions before we take a vote? Okay. All right, all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes on those. All right, next item is the Tolliver project, change order number 44.
This change order was for the grading that was done in the back, along with refund on the seating that we decided not to do. Not the grading in the back, but the removal of the mulch.
Yeah.
The grading was part of the project, so removing the mulch and then a credit on the seating. And then pulling the sod out of the project is significantly less than doing it within the project. I had contacted Michael McAfee, and after I got a couple of quotes from a couple of companies out of Louisville, and asked if he could maybe be a little more competitive. And I didn't realize that he had quoted it with the prevailing wage and for the project. So decided not to go through the project with it, and he sent me $3.39 per square yard sod installation, which definitely beat the quotes that I even got. I got my quotes for $3.50 a square yard. So I recommend that we approve that change order, and I guess it would be two different.
I was going to say, is that two different things? So we need to do the
Approval of
the change order first.
I make a motion for the approval of the Tolliver project change order number 44 in the amount of $1,391.59 as submitted.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that passes.
And continuing with the idea of the sod, I would recommend that we approve using contingency to get Michael McAfee's company to.
What's the timeline for that, now that it's all ready?
Really till school starts. I mean, there's
Okay.
he can work around the playground guy, they can work together. So, July 30th is when Griggs will be out of the way.
Okay.
So, I would say, the grading today looked like it was finished. I didn't get a chance to talk to Matt because he was way up on a ladder. And I didn't want to distract him, so. The painting's finished in the front. Obviously, the columns are finished. They're pouring sidewalks. The sidewalk in front and side is pretty much finished. And I didn't notice if it is beside the cafeteria yet, all the way to the bus loop. I didn't go out that way today, so.
That's right up.
Mhm.
It's Friday before, but it's okay.
I was getting mocked by teachers from the keys.
We need to approve the bid for the sod that is pulled out of that change order. So I make a
It was
motion.
never really in the project, so.
Okay, I make a motion for the approval of the adjusted bid for the sod in the amount of 16,375.60.
Second.
All those in favor? Okay, motion passes. That gets us straight on all that, right? Okay.
The playground scheduled to be installed beginning August 1st.
Good, so just in
By the time the school starts, hopefully by the time we have
The grand
the
opening.
grand opening, all that.
That would be great.
Mhm.
All right, moving on down to the softball field.
So, I didn't realize until late in the week that there was possible action. This is possible action item. So,
Yes.
I don't think I have enough quotes for you, but I have two, so
Okay.
maybe, that may be enough. We talked previously about, looking at John Carmen's cost projections. We pulled out some things that we would take care of outside of the project, and that was bleachers, the seating of the field, the scoreboards, the PA system, foul poles, bases, pitcher's mound, dugout benches, things like that. And I think that we pulled about 80,000 out of it, which took the cost, it's estimated cost, down to a little under 500,000. That does not include the concession stand or the restroom facility. So, but here's another option to think about. I met with Mike Topine from Topine, just to get some ideas. He talked about a new type of structure that, well, it's not a new structure, but on the high school level, that a lot of softball teams and baseball teams are starting to do. And that is having the press box elevated, and it's a metal building, but under our bleachers. So it's right behind home plate. He said that is the prime area, because people bring their chairs and set them right behind home plate. So it would seat like 100 people behind and around. And then our option may be then to put the concession stand and restrooms together, so that the water source is all in the same place, which would be a little cheaper in the long run. So he was going to give me, well, no, he already has a price on that. I have that estimate. And in comparison to what Carmen gave us, it's a little less. I'm not sure about, that's the big one. I don't have the concession restroom building quote for you, but I would guess the 80 to 100,000. We can look at prefab buildings, we can look at block buildings, we can look at either or. So, I'm thinking you're probably looking at 600,000. Is that what you think too? Yeah, that's probably about
And again, part of that is coming from,
It's all general fund.
right,
Part of it's already set aside
Set
as
aside,
assigned funds,
right.
but the
Right.
remainder of it will come out of.
and that was about what, 300, that was about half.
Well, we've got $399 sitting in the assigned funds.
Okay.
Of course, a little bit of that was remaining for Gravely Hall repairs. I don't know how much we've got left to do there, but
Right.
all of that's available.
We're also going to have to repair the walls at the stadium because they are deteriorating. So Danny Gadry's actually working on that a little bit, and he talked to me this morning about, we were gonna take the walls completely down and put a chain link with the, thank you, couldn't come up with the word, or, the screen that would have like, you know, anchors or ball players or track rooms. You're gonna pose for that. And, so need a little bit, there was some fencing there, but, he talked to me this morning about possibly just taking off the top 2 or 3 courses that are the worst, and then building on either side of it, with 2x4s, pressure treated, and then putting metal on those on either side. So, investigating.
So can we make a motion to approve the softball field at this point with a, like, not to exceed?
We're meeting again at a, next month, like, and have it, I mean, it sounds like we're meeting again on the 26th-ish. I mean, could we have more firm?
That would give me some time to do that, and maybe have
Yeah, I
John
don't feel
Coleman
like,
come to the
without
meeting.
something in front of me and, it being
What I was gonna suggest is if you all want to proceed with this, we can go ahead, if you give us the okay, and then what we'll do is, before we can do anything, we have to come up with a BG1, which will have our cost figures on it, and then you would have to approve that.
That's what we have.
So that would allow us to go ahead and work with them to get a BG1 in place and get our actual numbers from that.
Well, and I think this has been an ongoing project since like 2002. I mean, we've been talking about this. And, 2007, 2008, horrible financial years. And now we're back in a really good spot. So I agree with Susan and Paul, let's approve the project and let's get all the numbers, get the BGs together, and so we can move this thing on.
So by the 26th, then would it be good to have John come to that meeting?
That'd be just fine.
Okay, great.
So I make a motion that we approve the softball complex project.
Second. All right, all those in favor?
Uh,
All right, motion passes.
Yay. I like cheering.
I know, y'all can applaud back there.
Thank you for your patience.
Yes, thank you.
We thank you for your tax dollars.
All right. Okay, next item on the agenda is a tractor purchase.
This is a compact tractor, utility tractor that is 25 horsepower. It comes with a front loader as well as the brush attachment. The broom brush thing would be used on the pavers at Tolliver. It could also be used to brush the parking lots. The curves dry. Yes, thank you. It can be used on the grounds, moving dirt, mulch. We could probably do our own mulch then, which would save off the playgrounds, which would save us a good little chunk of money each year. We just don't have the equipment other than a wheelbarrow. And truck, you really don't want, or a trailer, it's tough. And that would load the mulch directly onto the playgrounds and then. So it would take care of the pavers. There will be some pavers at Hogsett in the entrance drop-off. Not a big bunch, but there'll be some. And
So it would be for multiple things, because I was thinking, if you end up with some of these more compact things, and we get one of our big 14-inch snow dumps or something like that,
we won't be in school for a while.
Yeah, we won't be in school for a while, but still, that was one of the concerns where is it gonna be housed at Tolliver? Or is it
Probably
just
won't
be?
house it, Tolliver, probably keep it at the stadium locked up there. There's a storage room there. It can go on a trailer and you can take it to whatever sites. And that's normally, when we have a snow day or have to get snow cleared, we have 3 of our trucks, or 2 of our trucks with plows on them. The 3rd truck's doesn't take a plow. And the 4th truck's really too old. So we run 2 plows, and usually the other 2 guys are doing snow blowers by hand. But this would free up, be able to take care of sidewalks with it, which would be real good. So I would highly recommend it. It's from John Deere, and that's on the state bid list, so that's the state price. And there were There was one for 18,000 that was a smaller version, still 25 horsepower. And there was one 28,000 that was 35 horsepower. And I don't think that we need that. I think the middle. Mhm. And you notice I gave you the document that has the Tolliver contingency balance on it.
Yes.
So I think we're good there. I don't have a quote yet for repairing the siding. It's been repaired once already by someone. Dave Baker gave me his name. He thinks he just went up on the roof and did it on the roof, but the side is coming off this time. I don't think that one can be done from the roof, so it would have to be like a 100-foot boom.
Okay.
So I'm searching for a company that can take care of that, and I have no idea what that would cost, and I would not think it would be astronomical.
What? Can you just talk to Greg? Isn't the equipment already there?
No,
It's not.
they don't even have one that big. I asked him. I talked to him.
Well, they did.
Okay, so we'll need a motion then for the.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of a John Deere compact tractor with brush attachments for $20,935.46 as submitted.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, the motion passes. Okay, so then back to the installation of solid Tolliver.
We did that.
We did that, yes,
We
sorry.
did that.
Yeah, sorry. It's like,
Well, no, we didn't because it was the change order up here.
Okay, so but we've got that covered, right?
But we actually
Yeah.
did them, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so then the HVAC bid projection
At base.
is 8. Okay.
There are 8 units, 7 big units on that building. One of them, Unit H, is completely broken down, but it will not work. At the end of the school year during testing, we ran portable air conditioners in 2 classrooms, 2 each. It was really miserable for some of those kids, but having only 1 bid at the bid opening was not good. It's not competitive, and it was actually more than the BG. And so we recommend that we reject the bid. I think you have a letter from the architect.
We got it.
Well, they recommend rejecting the bid, and as soon as you reject it, I can call a vendor. I can't talk to any vendors until that bid's rejected. But I already have the company who did bid on it used a subcontractor in their bid that we had used before in our district. So I'm very interested in getting in touch with CPS, Company Process Solutions. And so they were a part of the bid. And I'll just give them a call and say we need 1 unit. He had told me previously they could do expedited shipping and hopefully have it within 5 weeks.
Okay.
And it's just a matter of getting a crane and removing the old unit, setting the new unit on top, and using the existing ductwork. Then come summer, the ductwork will be fixed, and each classroom will have a VAV unit, which will make it possible for teachers to control the temperature in their rooms.
I make the motion to reject the John W. Bate Middle School HVAC bid and approve contracting with a vendor to replace the unit, or Unit H, at a cost of $100,000 or less.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
I have to excuse myself.
Thanks, Susan. All right. Okay. Yes, on to the staffing report. Let's see, that's just.
We got our Title I funds last week, and so I talked to the 2 principals. Ms. Kelly at Tolliver, she's requesting 2 full-time certified and 6 classified staff. Mr. Labriazo at Hogsett would like 1.5 certified and 4 part-time classified. And then all that's coming out of Title I funds. And then the high school's requesting a .2 science. She has a .5 science right now, and we're not getting a lot of interest on it. And if you give them 2 more points, they'll get benefits.
And I think that .2 would mean the difference of looking at classes that were at 30 to 32 versus a class size of 22. So for high school science and thinking about labs and so forth, I think that .2 for that difference in class size makes a big difference. Plus it'll help with staffing that position, specifically full-time.
All right.
Make a motion for the approval of the July staffing report as submitted.
Second.
All right, all those in favor? All right, motion passes. All right, moving on to the 2018-19 employee handbook.
You're just approving, it's basically the same handbook we had last year, other than, as you know, last month we approved the annual law changes for our policies and procedures.
Right.
KSBA just makes our handbook up to date to make sure it matches what the new policy changes are.
Okay.
And then, of course, we added Ms. Shelton's name to it.
Right.
Okay, I move that we approve the 2018-2019 employee handbook as submitted.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes. And the last item on the agenda is our consent agenda.
I make a motion that we approve all consent agenda items as presented without discussion.
Second.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. So,
I make a motion that we adjourn this meeting. Second.
all right.
All those in favor?
Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Thanks for the field. No problem.